It is 1 in the morning. You told yourself you would be asleep by 11. Instead, you are still awake, telling yourself just one more episode, just one more scroll. Sound familiar? Now flip it around. Imagine someone who sleeps 9, 10 hours a night every night and still feels tired. We are taught that person is doing something right. More sleep is always better, right? What if that is not true at all? Researchers just published the biggest analysis ever done on sleep and death, and the answer is not what most people expect. For most of history, humans did not sleep the way we do now. Before electric light existed, many people slept in 2 separate blocks, a first sleep and a second sleep, with an hour or 2 of quiet wakefulness in between. Then came gas lamps, then electric bulbs, then television, then smartphones. Each invention pushed bedtime a little later. Today, up to 1 in 3 adults regularly gets less sleep than their body actually needs. Shift work does not help. Nurses, factory workers, delivery drivers, pilots, all fighting a body clock that was never designed to be awake at 3 in the morning. And then there are screens. Social media, streaming video games, all specifically engineered to keep your eyes open a little longer. The blue light alone delays the release of melatonin, the hormone that tells your brain it is time to shut down. Have you ever wondered why one bad night of sleep makes you feel like you are thinking through fog the next day? That fog is not just in your head. Sleep deprivation measurably slows reaction time, wrecks memory formation, and makes emotional regulation harder. But the effects go far deeper than feeling groggy. Chronic sleep loss has been linked to a weaker immune system, meaning your body is slower to fight off infections it would otherwise handle easily. It has been linked to cardiovascular disease. Poor sleep raises blood pressure, disrupts heart rate patterns, and increases inflammatory markers in the blood, all of which strain the heart over years. It has been linked to metabolic problems too. Skimp on sleep and your body's hunger hormones shift, appetite goes up, insulin sensitivity goes down, and the risk of weight gain and type 2 diabetes climbs. Here is one most people have never heard of. Deep inside your brain, while you sleep, a cleaning system called the glymphatic system switches on. It flushes out waste products, including a protein called amyloid beta, the same protein tied to Alzheimer's disease. Skip that deep sleep night after night, and that waste has nowhere to go. Some researchers believe this is one of the reasons chronic sleep loss is connected to a higher risk of dementia later in life. Even cancer risk has been tied to disrupted sleep. Melatonin, the hormone your body makes in the dark, appears to have antioxidant properties and helps regulate how cells grow. Less melatonin may mean less protection against cells that mutate and multiply. That is part of why shift workers, who chronically fight their own circadian rhythm, show up in study after study with a higher risk of certain cancers, including breast, thyroid, and prostate cancer. So the case against sleeping too little is enormous. Immune function, heart health, metabolism, brain health, even cancer risk. Nobody seriously disputes that anymore. But here is the question almost nobody asks. If 7 or 8 hours is the target, is more always safer? Is a person who sleeps 10 hours a night automatically healthier than someone who sleeps 7? 15 years ago, a landmark study led by Francesco Cappuccio put a number on the short sleep problem for the first time, and it became one of the most cited papers in sleep science. But 15 years is a long time in science. New data, better statistical tools, and far more studies have piled up since then. It was time for an update. So an international team, led by researchers at the University of Oklahoma and Semmelweis University in Budapest, set out to answer the question properly, using every relevant study they could find. One of the goals behind this project was also very practical. The findings are meant to help shape something called the Semmelweis study, a major ongoing research effort tracking the health of a large workforce that includes a huge number of shift workers. Because if you work irregular hours for a living, your risk from bad sleep might already be higher than you realize, and almost nobody is warning you about it. Think about your own last 7 days. How many nights did you actually get 7 to 8 hours? Be honest. Most people, if they track it, are surprised by the answer. Now here is where it gets genuinely surprising, because the story is not just about sleeping too little. Long sleep, sleeping 9 hours or more on a regular basis, keeps showing up in study after study linked to worse health outcomes too. Not slightly worse. Meaningfully worse. One theory is that long sleep is sometimes a warning sign rather than a cause, a symptom of an illness that has not been diagnosed yet, quietly draining the body's energy and forcing it to rest more. Another theory points to disrupted sleep architecture, meaning the quality of that extra sleep may be poor even though the quantity looks high on paper. Either way, the message that only applies to insomniacs and night owls turns out to be incomplete. This is a story about balance, not just about getting more. So the team behind this new analysis went looking through the entire scientific literature, every database they could access, PubMed, Web of Science, the Cochrane Library, even Google Scholar, hunting for every cohort study that tracked sleep duration and death. They started with an almost absurd number of results. Over 31,000 records showed up in the initial search. Most of those were irrelevant, duplicates, wrong topic, wrong study type. After narrowing that list down title by title, abstract by abstract, they were left with 212 studies worth a closer look. Then came full text review. Reading each study in detail, checking whether it actually tracked sleep duration long enough, followed people long enough, and reported the right outcome. After that painstaking process, 79 studies made the final cut. Real cohort studies, following real people for at least a year, tracking exactly how much they slept and whether they were still alive at the end of the study. That is not a small sample of a few thousand people from one country. These 79 studies span different populations, different continents, different decades, giving this analysis a scale most single studies could never match. So what did combining all of that data actually reveal? Let's get into the numbers. 46 of those 79 studies focused specifically on short sleep, less than 7 hours a night, compared against people sleeping 7 to 8 hours. Pooling all of that data together, short sleep was linked to a 14% higher risk of dying from any cause. The hazard ratio was 1:14 with a confidence interval of 1:10 to 1:18, a solid, statistically significant result. 49 of the 79 studies looked at the other end, long sleep, 9 hours or more per night. And this is the number that stands out. Long sleep was linked to a 34% higher risk of death, hazard ratio 1:34, confidence interval 1:26 to 1:42. That is more than double the risk increase seen with short sleep. In other words, in this analysis, sleeping too much was the more dangerous extreme, not sleeping too little. The researchers also split the results by sex, and the gap widened even further. In men, short sleep raised mortality risk by 16%, and long sleep raised it by 36%. In women, short sleep raised the risk by 14%, but long sleep raised it by 44%, the single highest number in the entire analysis. Why the difference between men and women is still not fully understood. The authors point to possible hormonal differences, differences in sleep architecture, and differences in which underlying health conditions are more common in each group. Now, an important scientific caveat. These are observational cohort studies, not controlled experiments where researchers randomly assign people to sleep more or less. That matters because it means the results show a strong association, not proof of direct cause and effect. The long sleep results in particular carried a lot of statistical noise between studies, what scientists call heterogeneity, measured at 92% for long sleep versus 51% for short sleep. That is a signal that other factors are tangled up in that number. The most likely explanation for at least part of that long sleep risk is reverse causation. People do not necessarily get sick because they sleep too much. Often, they sleep too much because they are already sick, and the underlying illness simply has not been diagnosed yet. Most of the studies also relied on people reporting their own sleep duration rather than objective sensors, which introduces its own margin of error into every single data point. Even accounting for all of that, the pattern held up across 79 independent studies, multiple countries, and both sexes. That kind of consistency is hard to wave away. So where does that leave you? The safest zone, according to this evidence, is still 7 to 8 hours a night. Not less, chasing an extra hour of productivity at your body's expense. And maybe not chronically more either, without asking why you need it. Sleep has spent decades being treated as the thing you sacrifice first when life gets busy. This analysis is a reminder that both extremes come with a price, and the body keeps score whether you are paying attention or not.